This is the Keeping Your Money Show with Jamie Westenbarger and Bart Steidler.
All right, welcome back to Keeping Your Money Show. Jamie Westenbarger, joined this week by Matt Cernaw. We were just talking in the break. We figured out the way you save the $500,000. You just don't have kids. Matt and I were just rattling through the various things we have spent money on our children in the last 30 days, and I'm pretty sure Laura has decided that she's never going to have children. No, I'm just kidding. I love my children. But they are expensive. But Yahoo had a pretty good article out about some of these expenses that they actually did a survey through gobankingrates.com, and they wanted to find out if you cut back on certain things, what would it really mean to your overall retirement? And, it's interesting because I've had a number of situations with clients where maybe we couldn't find enough income to put away as much as we wanted to or whatever. And when we start kind of digging through some of the budget, and I know everyone hates that word budget, but when you start digging through the budget, a lot of times we all are spending more on things than we even realize we're spending it on. I use a credit card for just about everything I buy, and then I pay it off every month because I like the points and, getting free travel. That's not right for everyone, I realize, but, you have to pay it off every month or it's stupid to do that. But one of the things that I like about that is the end of the year, they give you like a breakdown of what you spent. Sometimes it's a little startling when you look at a certain category and you're like,
dining out.
What? How did I spend that on pizza? But sometimes just a little, recognition of that. And again, I think that's one of the things when we see people come in for a second opinion, or maybe they're about to retire and they need some kind of income strategy of how they're going to create an income stream from the assets that they've accumulated. One of the first things we have to do is we got to figure out, what are you spending money on? And it's really interesting to see the defense mechanisms go up, right? I'm not criticizing your 3 Starbucks a day habit. It's okay. I'm just saying, let's acknowledge where that money's going, because then you can make decisions about it. And I think that's the key to this article. I'm not saying you can't go out to eat. I'm not saying you can't buy coffee. I love coffee. I buy expensive coffee. I'm not saying you can't do that. What I'm saying is understanding how much it's really costing you. It's not $5 for a latte. It's $5 plus the opportunity cost of what that $5 would turn into over the next 30 years if it were invested in your retirement instead. And according to this survey, it can add up to $500,000.
It's a lot of money.
That's real money.
And while we're not here to balance your checkbook on a day-to-day basis, like Jamie mentioned, having that list of what's essential, what do you have to pay on a month-to-month, day-to-day basis, and what are some of those non-necessities, such as the dining out? How does that compare to eating at home, packing your lunch, bringing it every day, versus that $10 or $12 every day? What does that $50 a week really look like for dining out rather than packing a sandwich every day?
Sure. And, some of these too, like ride shares, we've all kind of gotten into the Uber, Lyft, taxi sort of craze, right? More Uber and Lyft. If you're in New York, maybe you take more taxis or whatever. But sometimes it's not really even like, there's not really a reason to do it other than it's convenient, And I'll do this. I'll go down to a concert and I'll say, you know what? I'm just going to take a Lyft because it's basically the same cost. And it's not. It's
not
not.
at all.
It's 15 there and 15 home, and parking is 15. So therefore, I would have saved $15 by just driving my happy butt downtown and parking in the ramp.
Well, and you bring up an interesting point there on saving money. Mm-hmm. I think there's a big discrepancy between actually saving money and just spending less.
Right.
When I go over to the grocery store and I check out, every time the top of my receipt has in giant bold letters, you saved $58 on your shopping trip today.
Spending $300.
I did not save any money. I just spent less than I would have if things weren't on sale. And my wife loves to shop at one of the big clothing retailers here in town that always has huge discounts. She comes home, look, honey, I saved $240 today. Well, you still spent $200. It didn't really save any money. So I think one of the important parts of how you can cut back on some of these non-essential expenditures is to make sure that when you do that, you're saving that balance, whether it's an increase in your 401k contribution or a systematic contribution to an IRA or a mutual fund, any sort of savings in order to have that money building and growing for you in the future.
So, and here's the key. They found that millennials are the biggest offenders of non-essential spending. This is not a rip on you. This is for you to understand. An average of $6,200 on what's considered non-essentials, okay? Non-essentials being eating out, delivery, bars, new clothing, ride shares, coffee, okay, that kind of stuff. Now, that's not to say you can't spend anything, but if you cut that down from that number to, let's call it 4,000. If you spend 4,000 instead of 6,200, and starting at 25, you took the difference of that and invested it in something that earned an average of 7%. Now, of course, this is a hypothetical investment. There's nothing out there, whatever, okay? You would save about $500,000 towards your retirement. So the question is cutting a little bit of your bar hopping, Ubering, pizza delivery out of your budget worth having $500,000? And that's where I think the biggest assistance from something like this comes from. It's not criticizing you for spending an average of $6,000. Some of you spend an average of $15,000. I've seen your budgets, right? It's not a criticism of it. It's an understanding that if you spent 12 instead of 15, what does that mean to your investment account? If you spent 6 instead of 10, what does that mean to your investment account? And you know what? We're all big boys and girls here. We have to make decisions for ourselves, but at least now you know that you're making that decision.
I think one of the best decisions that people can make is to ensure that they're paying themselves first.
Right.
Have
nothing
those
wrong
savings,
with having fun.
Nothing wrong with having fun. But if you're not someone who regularly balances your checkbook, follows a strict budget, knows how much you spend on dining out and Lyft rides every year or events, clothing, pay yourself first. Mm-hmm. Take that money right out of your paycheck, have it withdrawn from your account right on the same day that you get paid, so that a week later when you log into your banking app and you see how much money you have to decide whether you're going to take that Lyft or you're going to go out to dinner or you're just going to find something in the fridge at home, you've already set that money aside. It's already going towards those retirement savings goals. Pay yourself first.
Well, and there's a lot of things that just become part of how we do things. I'll give you a perfect example. I like to golf. I like to golf a lot. I belong out to Thousand Oaks. I golf out there in the league. Generally, when I get there with my golf partner in the league, we go into the bar and we get a 6-pack of beer, in the cooler, and then we go out and we golf in our league event, right? I don't drink a lot, so unless it was like excessively hot or whatever, there are times I'll come back from those 9 holes and there's still a beer in the cooler, right?
Yep.
And I'm not taking it home with me. It ends up getting left there, right? So, at a restaurant or a bar or a golf course, you're paying $5 for that beer or $4 or whatever, right? Well, if I golf 10 times in league a year, at $4 a pop, that's $40. If I do that for 20 years, it starts to really add up, right? And that's one little minute thing that I started last year. I just order a drink when I want a drink. I don't use the cooler, because I know there'll be something left over in it. And sometimes that means I wait an extra hole or whatever, but they've got a little person running around with a drink. And I'm not saying that's everybody's scenario. I'm just saying there are ways to change that. If Bart were here, he would tell you about his way of making his own iced coffee lattes. He figures it's saving him about $100 a month because he loves iced coffee lattes and they're expensive. So he has determined a way to make his own now. And he swears they're just as good and they don't cost hardly anything because coffee in itself, if you're making it, is not excessively expensive. So,
well, when he's back next week, we'll have him fire some of those up here in the office.
There you go. But now I do want to say, I know a lot of you men are driving around here in the morning. Maybe you're picking up donuts for the family or whatever, and you're like, wait till I get home and tell my wife about this. Well, slow your roll there, buddy, because the survey also found that men on average are much worse at this than women.
Oh,
So you think it's your wife and her shopping? I assure you it is probably you and your coffees or your Monster drinks or your Powerades or your packs of gum you're buying at the gas station that really is ultimately the problem.
those sound like essential expenses to me, Jamie.
They do to most people. Well, and again, not saying you can't do these things, just understand what they mean. I met a guy a while ago, and we got to take a break here real quick, but met a guy a while ago. He told me the way he quit smoking was when he was 26 years old, he figured out how much he was paying per pack. He put it into a spreadsheet and determined if he stopped paying for cigarettes and instead was putting that in an investment account, he'd have $480,000 or something when he was 65. He said it was the easiest way to quit. He said, because I looked at every time I went and bought a pack, that was $480,000. He goes, and there's not a cigarette in the world worth $480,000. You know, it's just putting in the mindset of, not that you can't buy coffee, but understand you're buying it in lieu of that trip you want to take when you're 65. Delayed gratification is difficult, but it is worthwhile.
It's real money.
Remind you can go out, call us anytime. 888-98-MONEY is the number. 888-986-6639. If you need a second opinion, maybe you need a first opinion, or maybe you're trying to figure out how you're going to turn that asset into income, we would love to sit down and give you a free consultation on how we can help you out. All right, we're going to run into a break. Coming back, we're going to talk about HSAs and some kind of things you might not know about, tips that will help save you some money, right here on the Keeping Your Money Show.
There's no one-size-fits-all when it comes to planning your future. Jamie, Bart, and all of the advisors at the Keeping Your Money Show understand that your financial goals are unique and your needs are going to change at varying stages of your life. Our team of advisors can help you tailor a financial plan that meets your unique needs. Call us today at 1-888-98-MONEY or visit keepingyourmoney.com to schedule your free initial consultation.